So a couple more questions for you. Let's talk about the acceleration growth cycle, because we haven't talked about that. Accelerating time with technology.
So this really is kind of that core idea I talked about, with technology developing much faster than it ever has, and how you can use technology to literally accelerate time, right? It's that idea that, the days are long and the years are short, and right, all those kind of comparisons that you can make. Technology is, key at Amazon, and it is core to what they do, but they don't let it overshadow other things. And so, looking at the Kindle, let me look at the Kindle, right? So that was Amazon's first hardware project. And that actually was developed in what's called Lab 126, which is their hardware, I hesitate to call it R&D, but a separate place where Echo came out of, and a lot of hardware stuff is coming out of. And Bezos talks about it. It was released in 2007. They spent 3 years prior working on it, but using that technology, again, to accelerate the consumption of information, e-ink, and actually probably the best technology in the Kindle is WhisperSync. Hugely complicated. So I can have a book open on my phone, on the Kindle app. I can go to my iPad on the Kindle app and make either automatically or force, right, syncing to the last place I read.
Yeah.
Technologically, extremely difficult, because my iPad could be idle for months.
Yep.
But Amazon has to know that. And they have to figure out, okay, which is the latest version, and where have I read, to the particular point in time. But they're using technology to help people manage their time better. And I think that's the core concept there.
And who doesn't need that? Right. Right? I mean, it's like the biggest shortage we have is time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another example that just jumps to mind is, again, you mentioned telemedicine. I had the experience of having a annual checkup. And normally I would go down to Vanderbilt University and spend like 3 hours and see probably 5 or 6, 7 different people, and, time consuming. And sometimes I would skip it because it wasn't all that important. And because, again, one of the changes, we did that with telemedicine and Zoom, and everybody was on the same call.
Yeah.
It was like 35 minutes, and it was like, and my daughter does the same thing. And it was like, oh my gosh, that was so much more efficient, right? Again, your example, taking the industry, kind of forcing them, whether they like it or not, to try new things. My experience is like, I don't ever want to go back down into an office and sit there for 15 minutes waiting for the next person to be able to come in.
No, not at all. And here's the other thing I've noticed, because I've experienced it a handful of times, is that if you're in the doctor's waiting room, you might have to wait 2 hours. They won't make you wait 2 hours on a Zoom. They are so much more timely on a Zoom session. So it is definitely a big value add to the customer.
And I think that's an example of a trend that's not going back. So again, it's learning, okay, well, how do we do this now? And I also want to emphasize, there are times when you actually need to see somebody. Right. So it's not replacing everything, but now we can better utilize resources, knowing when we can do it virtually and when we need to do it in person.
Yeah. Absolutely.